My daughter has gone totally insane and has left my house to live with her transgender baby daddy in a homeless camp. My daughter came out to me at 17 as non-binary, but only sometimes. Essentially, she was neither gender some days, but some days was a girl. I feel this is where things started to go wrong. 2 years later, she randomly announced she was 4 months pregnant and yelled that this was my fault. She blamed me because I didn't put her on hormone blockers. I was in absolute disbelief already, but then she said something even more ridiculous. She has come to see her baby like a sibling and expects me to raise it like it was mine. That this is my duty, in fact, because it is my refusal to accept her non-binary state that led to her being pregnant. As soon as she said that, my language grew sterner. I said, "Congratulations, mommy. You have some hard decisions to make." And I also said I would absolutely not raise her baby for her. She didn't even say anything in response, and instead ran upstairs and into her room. Right now, she's locked herself in and is loudly wailing. She's been in there for 12 hours, and as she has an attached bathroom, probably won't be coming out until she gets hungry. Considering it's been half a day, I think she has snacks stored. Update 1. It's the middle of the night, and she has decided to pack some of her clothes and stay with one of her friends, one who I suspect is the baby daddy. Before she left, she told me that she already called the police and let them know that she was leaving of her own free will and was not in danger. Like I was going to report a 19-year-old adult as a runaway or something? It was insulting. I told her she needs to work out details if she wants to raise the kid with the father, and she was welcome back home when she had a plan in place. Update 2. My daughter and the person who got her pregnant wanted to talk to me at a public place, and we chose IHOP. Although I suspected I knew who her lover was, I was disappointed to find out because they have been a part of my daughter's friend group since high school and was the only one I ever had a problem with. They are trans now, but 1 year ago, when they were all 18, the friend group was watching a movie in the living room, and every time I'd pass by, the trans one would lock eyes with me and make really obnoxious, loud, nutting sounds. I told him to knock it off and grew sterner when he did it again. Then when I was in the kitchen, he somehow snuck up behind me and was miming rubbing one out movements with his hand. I turned around and caught him at it. He was still fully clothed, but it was startling and freaky. I kicked him out. So now I'll just call them nut donor because that's what they are. Anyway, the IHOP meeting was a crap show. Nut donor sat with my daughter and went on the attack. Nut donor's points were: 1. I was poisoning my daughter by making her take birth control. I only helped her get the prescription and would have done everything I could if I knew she didn't want to take the pill. 2. It will take years to fix my daughter after all I did, not giving her hormones even though I had no idea that was what she wanted. 3. I am further treating her like garbage by not taking care of the baby while she fixes herself. So apparently, even though I'm a monster, a bad mother and so on, I'm even worse for not taking in their baby. At least no one suggested that I raise it like my daughter's sister anymore. That might have been my daughter's thought on it. Nut donor did most of the talking while my daughter just sat and glared at me, nodding along. It was kind of a whirlwind. Nut donor pounded the table a few times, and even the waiter knew not to bother us after drinks. Lol. I'm surprised we weren't asked to leave. There was a lot said, mostly by the nut donor who really seemed to be steering the ship. I asked why nut donor couldn't take care of the baby, and nut donor said his parents were even worse than me and that he was homeless at the moment. I guess my daughter and nut donor taking care of the child they created is out of the question. I told them that I would not be raising their baby for them, and that adoption is the best bet. They said that if I don't agree to raise it, they'll make sure I'll never see the baby ever. I won't raise their child for them. So that's that, I guess. I feel so many flavors of worried and angry and then worried all over again. I've been around the block, and it's never a great sign when the person you're with makes an enemy of your family. That's what nut donor has done by painting me as a failed mother who also won't take in their baby. I'm angry that my daughter can just hear this crap and nod along like, yeah, that makes total sense. She is not stupid. I think she's love blinded. I'm sad and worried for the baby. It's bad all around. My house is empty. It feels like my adult daughter has run off to join up with some weird church cult thing who tells her that up is down. I texted her and said I would be there for her, but nut donor was still not welcome in the house. I think I'm blocked. Update 3. I did contact nut donor's parents, and they have all but disowned him. Back to the new news. All this shook out a couple weeks ago. I came home from grocery shopping to find a strange pregnant woman at my door. That woman used to be my daughter, but had changed so much she was like a stranger. She chatters constantly so you can't get a word in. She has several small face tattoos, and forgive me for saying this, looks like she has aged 20 years. She had been living rough. She was angry I locked her out. I changed the locks after she left, and basically expected to move back into her old room with no problem. Like it was just another day from back in the winter when she lived here. Of course I wasn't going to turn her away, so I guess in a way she was right. She was living in the homeless camp with the nut donor, and I insisted she take a shower because it looked like she hadn't since leaving. She also stank bad. She had no shame about blocking my number or what she put me through by disappearing. All she wanted to talk about was the grand fate that she and nut donor are building, that they're building a community of new people, and she went on and on and on without mentioning the baby once. I don't know how anyone can stand them, but nut donor has multiple partners, and my daughter is one of them and is perfectly happy. Finally, I broke in and asked, and she said she had been to the doctor regularly. That was a lie, found out later, and all is well with the baby. At this point, I knew she had to be on something. If she was awake, she was talking, and none of what she said had an end or a point. Also, a lot was from Crazy Town. What I got from her was that, again, she and several other ladies, and men, somehow, were to carry the next generation of new people. Yes, the men. Yes, biological men. Nut donor was sort of the middle of the wheel with the spokes, was how she described it. Anyway, sometimes she said she wanted to keep the baby, though she wouldn't tell me a plan to take care of and house it. I think she expected to stay with me. And sometimes she wanted to adopt it out, but not for the good of the baby, but to spread the new people. This part is going to upset the internet, but the new people are apparently without gender expectations, and that was why she didn't know the baby's gender yet. Oh yeah, and also some of the wheel, her group, were empathic, and they could communicate their feelings through the other world. As a house guest, she was the absolute worst. It was was like she had gone feral out in the camp and never cleaned up after herself to the point where she mostly did not even flush the toilet after using it. She ate everything, which was to expected, but never cleaned up after herself and kept asking. Asking is too mild of a word, she demanded, for me to take her out to restaurants. I did a couple of times because I missed her and was trying to make a connection, but then once afterward took her to the store to get baby supplies, and she was weirdly detached, sort of picked up the first thing she saw on the shelf, and all the while it was talk about her true family of new people and their grand fate. Anyway, I finally got out of her that she expected the baby in mid-July, which put her outside the time frame she originally gave me. I had it on my calendar. I was obsessed with the possible due date because I didn't know if she was find a baby on my doorstep or what. And yes, she was under the care of a doctor. Both lies. Getting her to focus on one subject was impossible. She would only stop talking long enough to take a breath, and only listen long enough to you to stop for your own before she'd launch into a new thing, usually around nut donor, who she loved but was nowhere in sight and was chilling back at the camp. Basically, I was waiting for her to come down off whatever she was on when she went into full-blown labor. It was a complete crap show. She was having pains, but her water hadn't broken yet. At the hospital, it came out that she had not been to the doctor once for the baby. There are programs in our state that cover pregnancies, so that put her at high risk, so she was admitted immediately. That's when the switch flipped and she became hateful against nurses and doctors. She said the worst things, and they were absolute saints in return. She also had like delusions of grandeur and told them she was their queen and accused them of trying to punish her. It was so wild. I can't even describe the monster she became. So hateful. The worst things you can say to people, she said them. She wasn't in hard labor yet, so it wasn't entirely the pain. I pulled one nurse aside and told her where she had been living and what I suspected. They were so professional and gave her painkillers that helped her mood. Imagine my surprise when her blood work came out clean. I wasn't there for the birth because she didn't want me in the room with her, and heaven help me, I was a little relieved because I was ashamed of her behavior. But I did talk to a social worker on staff to let them know everything I did. The lady was very nice, but couldn't speculate officially on my daughter's mental state. I said she had to be bipolar or manic or something because her behavior was not normal. Miraculously, the child was born at a good weight and healthy. My daughter lucked out big time and had a normal delivery as things went. She didn't give nut donor's name out as the father, though I did to the social worker. They can't be put on the birth certificate on my word. She up and left her baby that evening without officially checking out, without saying goodbye to me or her newborn. Because the hospital is a safe surrender point, she won't be charged for abandonment. I know getting a new family is almost the best thing that could have happened for the baby. Even with problems with the foster system, it has to be better than the camp. But I feel like dog crap about it even now. I also suspect they'll have a sibling soon as my daughter can arrange it. I know my daughter is not well. I know she's in a cult and probably in danger based on the stories she casually dropped about other members. She is also a selfish liar, and it is luck or the grace of God or what have you that her baby was born healthy. She is rolling the dice on her life and the life of her future children. She's sick and under the control of some total freak and now thinks she has magic thought powers, but she has some responsibility in this too. It's hard for me to type out, but the way she treated the hospital staff was so cruel. Seriously, I had to use a thesaurus to describe it because I can't even describe fully how bad it was. It showed me that whatever else, she thinks other people are below her. It's more than the mania. I'm just there to serve her, whenever she sees fit. She knew she would be giving birth soon, so she came home and expected me to take care of her. I did, of course, because she was 9 months pregnant. And the second she didn't have any more need of me, or the baby she had just given birth to, it was easy to take off again. I listened to her for days, and she expressed no feelings of hope for the baby other than a vehicle to spread their movement. No worry about their future life. She made the choice to leave and go back to nut donor's harem or wheel or whatever. Sick or not, I'm ashamed to have raised someone with these kinds of values. Mentally ill people aren't bad people, but she has gone beyond merely bad choices. I haven't totally written her off and she may come back to sanity, but since all indications are that I'm blocked again, I'm going to think long and hard about boundaries and possibly moving. I'm worried about one day finding a bunch of cultly weirdos on my porch. So that's it. I don't know what to do.